Greetings everyone, Justin here with another abandoned video. Bet you guys thought I abandoned the idea of doing these. Okay, I apologize, that pun really sucked. Well anyway, we are going to talk about the first enclosed mall in Richmond, Virginia, the Azalea Mall. Azalea Mall, as I mentioned, was the first mall in Richmond, Virginia. Well, the first enclosed mall anyway, opening in August of 1963. We will be going to the location at the end of this video. The anchors of the mall were Thalheimer's and Woolco's. Woolco's was a discount store that opened up in 1962 in Columbus, Ohio, and spread throughout the United States. They did go defunct in 1983 in the United States, but then tried to rival Walmart when Walmart was about to open in Canada. Other tenants from the mall included Food Fair, Woolworths, People's Drug, The Home Shop, and Ward's TV, which would later be Circuit City. Azalea Mall was not very big, only around 200,000 square feet. If you remember my Walnut Mall video, I said the mall was 300,000 square feet and that the mall was left for dead by a much bigger mall. With that being said, I think you know where the fate of Azalea Mall is going. Well, I did mention that this was the first enclosed mall, but Willow Lawn was actually the first mall. It had an outside mall that opened up in 1956, but was later enclosed during certain parts in the early 90s. Cloverleaf Mall and Chesterfield Town Center were not only built, but had expanded by the early 90s as well. There were even two more malls open. Regency Square opened up in 1975, which is still open today and doing fairly well. Virginia Center Commons opened up in 1990 and opened up a lot more stores such as Belk, Leggett, and Hex to name a few. Despite the sudden boom in malls around Richmond, Virginia, Azalea survived until it closed down in 1995. Well, you could say it's not quite abandoned completely. It's hanging on by a thread, or should I say a root. The Woolworths Garden Center is still there, although today it's known as the Azalea Garden Center. The building itself, the mall that is, was totally demolished in 1999. So what do I think about the future of the mall? Well, I don't think anything will be built there, honestly. The whole area around the mall just isn't that busy from what I've witnessed. Also, when the mall was demolished, the crime rate went down. Before that, the mall, when it was abandoned that is, the mall tended to be a hangout spot for a lot of drug dealers and prostitution. In fact, at one point, the crime tried to go to Virginia Center Commons when the mall was demolished. Luckily for them, the local police and mall management and security put a stop to that right away. There was talk about a Martin's grocery store being built there, but I don't think that will happen. I found a news article, which I'll link below, that stated that it was 2014 when they're talking about building the Martin's. After 3 years, there's no sign of a building even being started there. Plus, Martin's already shut down 2 or 3 of its Richmond stores, and there's already one about a 5-minute drive away from the old Azalea Mall. So it wouldn't make much sense to build a Martin's there for a multitude of reasons. As mentioned before, the crime rate went down after the building was demolished, so I don't think that area would want to increase the crime rate again. And besides, the mall itself is so overgrown with vegetation and debris that it would just cost a lot of money to clear it out and make it good to build again. But who knows, only time will tell if something will be built there or not. So it is what if scenario time. Well, let's just say the mall was bigger. So if Azalea Mall was bigger, let's say we'll double it in size, so it's now 400,000 square feet. So with the mall being double in size, this means double the stores. I think this means that the mall would last longer than it did, but would ultimately be doomed to fail. Here's why. The selling point of Virginia Center Commons was that it was bigger and had much more stores, but it is 775,000 square feet, and Regency is 800,020 square feet, and has 2 floors. So even though we double the size of Azalea Mall and give it more stores, I think the ultimate downfall besides having bigger malls will be the crime rate. If you watch my older abandoned videos, you know that crime rate can kill any business, which is why location is important when starting a business. The very latest I would see it lasting, if it was this big, is about the mid-2000s, because then you gotta throw Short Pump Town Center and Stony Point Fashion Park into the mix. And I think having two fancier, nicer outdoor malls would, on top of all the bigger malls in the area, would just kill Azalea Mall.
Alright, so we are here at the Azalea Mall location in Richmond. So there's this fence here, no trespassing, so I'm sure it probably refers to the parking lot, but out of respect for the people that probably still do own this, we are not going to go past the fence. So yeah, this is where Azalea Mall used to be. This is just the parking lot area. If you look really close in here, you can kind of see where it goes up, like on the sidewalk. I would assume that is probably like the front entrance, like maybe where you'd make a drop off, like a delivery, or drop off your teenagers to go in the mall. I never knew this mall was here till recently because it was dead in '95, so I would have made me about 7 or 8 years old. So, and there was already much bigger malls near me, so there was really no need to come all the way out here from Chester to come see a dying mall. But yeah, kind of wish there was more here, but it's kind of cool to be able to go to the abandoned location itself. And interestingly enough, there's an abandoned bank over here, which kind of cements my point that, you know, that's not very profitable to build anything out here. Well, here is Azalea Mall, so I'm glad we got to see the location. Thank you so much for watching and exploring with me. I hope you didn't think I was serious. We're just going to give this a try. We're just going to stop by for a minute and see what's in the fence. I had no idea it ended here. So upon further exploring, this looks like the front entrance, or at least an entrance. Okay, now this I think was the mall itself. Wow. This is cool. Now see, one thing I wanted to see if we could see it. When I was looking at pictures, I actually saw remnants of a fountain that used to be in the mall. So, just like I've said in other videos, we just want to document. We're not going to touch anything. We're not going to mess with anything. We're just here to look. Now this is even more surreal than the parking lot. Alright, so this is definitely the mall itself here. I'm guessing this is probably the main part here, these tiles. Or for all I know, it could have been part of a restaurant that was in there. Okay, so here we are. This was actually a fountain in the mall. Yeah, this looks like where the water probably came up here. And this is the foundation here. Or the foundation. Sorry for that horrible pun. I saw this here. I'm going to take a guess and say this was probably a bathroom. I remember in like the early 90s, late 80s seeing a lot of these types of tiles in bathrooms. And the fact that there's a little drain pipe there tells me it probably were near where like the hand sinks were. Oh, and it looks like there's a... If you see where that little green plant is right there, that's probably where a pipe was, like a drain pipe was.
Thank you so much for checking out our video. If you have any stories about visiting Azalea Mall when it was open, please be sure to share them below. I'd really like to hear them. And a big thank you to our camera girl.
Thank you so much, Justin. I really enjoyed working with you in this video. And like you said, for everybody, please share this video. Also, comment and subscribe so you can be updated with our Podcast Dojo videos.
Thank you again. So, if you have any suggestions for any abandoned videos or places you'd like me to check out or explore, please be sure to leave them below and I will definitely make a point to look into them. Thank you again.